What if I told you one of Europe's most relaxed cities is also one of its oldest? Lisbon has been shaped by time, fire, and the sea. Yet when you arrive, it feels calm, almost gentle. That caught me off guard. I'm an experienced traveler. I've gone solo through cities that never sleep, places where noise fills the air and days feel rushed. Lisbon was different. It invited me to slow down, to walk with no goal, to sit on a bench and watch the light change. This was my first visit to Portugal. I stayed for 11 days. I traveled alone by choice. I explored most of the city on foot. When places were far or uphill, I used taxis. For deeper history, I joined guided tours. And for nearby towns, I took easy day trips. Lisbon felt familiar in small ways. The hills reminded me of San Francisco. The old tiles brought back memories of southern Spain. But Lisbon had its own rhythm. Softer, warmer, less crowded. In this episode, I'll share what I saw, what I felt, and what surprised me. I'll talk about costs, tours, food, and moving around the city. I'll share places near Lisbon that are easy to reach, even if you're alone. And I'll tell you why this city stayed with me. If you like slow travel, deep walks, and cities with soul, this episode is for you. Let's begin. Let's walk Lisbon together. Arriving in Lisbon felt easy. The city is not far from the airport. The cost of a taxi to my hotel was between 15 and 18 euros. In less than 25 minutes I arrived. As we drove, I saw the city's rise and fall. There are hills everywhere. Rooftops are red and the stone reflected light. I stayed close to Alfama in a tiny flat in an ancient street. Laundry hangs from windows. It was cleaner and more peaceful but was similar to sections of Naples. I didn't have a map. Every time I visit a new city, I walk to explore and get the feeling of the place. If you're ready for hills, Lisbon is a great place to take a walk. There are steep streets. Really steep. However, the city rewards the effort. There's typically an amazing view at the top. This is how most of the morning started. A pastel de nata and coffee. Pastel de nata is a well-known custard tart and costs about 1.5 euros. The outside is crispy and it is soft on the inside. I've had them many times. During my first few days, I walked around Alfama and Baixa. The oldest area in the city is Alfama. It made it through the 1755 major earthquake. The streets are winding. It was similar to the back streets of Athens or parts of Old Jerusalem. Quiet, real, and lived in. I went to Lisbon Cathedral one morning. It cost roughly 5 euros for entry. Inside, it's simple with heavy stone and cool air. I went on to São Jorge Castle by walking uphill. The admission fee was approximately 15 euros and was well worth it. Stretching across the river are the views of red roofs everywhere. I stayed longer than I thought I would. On the third day, I went on a walking tour with a small group. It cost roughly 20 euros. The earthquake, the rebuilding and the tiles were each explained by the guide. Lisbon tiles are common and are blue and white. Some tell tales. Some only decorate. With softer colors they made me think of Seville. Lisbon's public transport system is cheap. The cost of one ride is roughly 2 euros. The cost of a day pass is around 7 euros. I took trams a couple of times. Tram 28 is well known and it's fun but crowded. Through the city as it rises and falls and is like riding the past. Lisbon's food is honest and filling. Here, fish are extremely common. There are grilled sardines everywhere. I spent between 15 and 20 euros on a good meal with wine. Much cheaper than Italy. I went on a guided food tour during my stay. 70 euros or so for 3 hours. We tasted wine, cheese, salmon, and sweets. It improved my understanding of local food. Tours are a great way for developing a sense of connection even if it's only for some time. I took a taxi to Belém one afternoon. 10 euros or so from the center. Belém is both open and flat. I went to the monastery of Geronimos. It cost roughly 10 euros for a ticket. Huge and quiet and it filled with light. Belém Tower is nearby. It cost roughly 8 euros for admission, but I preferred the view from the outside. In Belém, I had more pastel de nata. It was still good. Lisbon stays quiet at night. Not sleepy. Just calm. I often went for walks by myself and always felt safe. Much safer than a few large cities I visited. More relaxed than in Barcelona and less hectic than Rome. A day trip to Sintra was one of the trip's highlights. By train, it was about 30 minutes. The cost of the return ticket was about €5. It feels like a dream in Sintra with its hills and forest and palaces. While I was there, I went on a guided tour. The tour cost roughly €60. Travel from Lisbon and admittance to Pena Palace were included. The price of Pena Palace alone is around €14. It had vivid hues. Almost like a cartoon. It was similar to the Neuschwanstein Castle in Germany. I went to Quinta de Regalera as well. It cost roughly €10 for a ticket. You descend a deep well and see the secret passageways. It was strange and magical. Cascais was another day trip excursion. By train, around 40 minutes. The return price was roughly €5. It is a town by the sea. It was clean and calm. Walkable. Although it was less flashy, it reminded me of parts of the French Riviera. In my last days, I went more slowly, just sitting in coffee shops and watching the locals and taking notes. Lisbon encourages that. You're not overwhelmed by it. It was easy to travel solo here. People were kind. There are many people who speak English and the prices were reasonable. My pace was equal to theirs. Lisbon doesn't shout. It whispers. And it stays with you if you listen. When my time in Lisbon was coming to a close, I became aware of something. I wasn't tired or rushed. I was relaxed. Lisbon gave me time. Time to stroll. Time to reflect. Time to simply relax. It became an example that good travel doesn't always need to be hectic or hurried. It felt normal to travel solo here. It was easy. It was safe. If Lisbon is on your list, I hope this story helps you imagine it. And if it's not, maybe it should be. Thanks for walking with me through Lisbon. Until the next journey.